Yes, sir.
Okay, Anand Gowda.
Good morning to one and all. I, Anand Gowda PF, librarian in charge, pleased to welcome you all to the national level webinar on library resources management organized by the Library and Information Center, KSRDPR University. Libraries store the energy that fuels the imagination. They open up windows to the world and inspire us to explore and achieve, and contribute to improving our quality of life. On this auspicious day of birth anniversary of Padma Shri, Dr. S.R. Ranganathan, which is to be celebrated as National Librarians Day, I wish everyone a happy Librarians Day. I request our beloved registrar, Professor Dr. Basavaraj L. Lakhanur sir, to welcome the dignitaries. Sir, please, sir.
Sir, good morning to everybody. Karnataka State Rural Development and Panchayat Raj University Gadag organize national level webinar on library resource management, and another one important thing in this webinar, the launching of KSRDP University Infographics. This auspicious occasion, I'd like to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Vishnukant Chitpadi sir. Wholeheartedly welcome in this webinar, sir. Wholeheartedly welcome, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
I would like to welcome scientist and technical officer, Implement Center, Gandhi, Sri Dharmesh Shah. Wholeheartedly welcome behalf of our university and behalf of our registrar and myself, sir. Wholeheartedly welcome Dharmesh Shah, sir. Wholeheartedly welcome. I would like to welcome another.
धर्मेश जी, आपको स्वागत किया गया है.
धर्मेश शाह सर.
धर्मेश जी सुनाई दे रहा है या नहीं है?
Dharmesh sir.
Wholeheartedly welcome, sir. Dharmesh sir.
Hello.
I also welcome
ಇಲ್ಲಿ
Karnataka.
ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ನೋಡೋಣ ತಡ್ರಿ. ಧರ್ಮೇಶ್ ಜಿ.
Dharmesh sir.
ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆಯಾ?
Dharmesh sir.
ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ರ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ?
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ನಮ್ದೇನು ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ.
ಡಿಸ್ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಆಗ್ಲಿ. ಅದು ಅಹಮದಾಬಾದ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂಚೂರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲಿ. ಸಿಟಿನಿಂದ ಆಚೆ ಇದೆ.
ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್, ಫೋನ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು.
ಹಾ ಸರ್. Sir, he is joining, sir. Joined, sir. Dharmesh sir.
Dharmesh Shah, sir. Are you audible, sir?
Yes, I think somehow it got disconnected.
Yes.
Now it is audible, sir.
Audible.
Now it is audible, sir.
Yes.
धर्मेश जी, आपको वेलकम किया गया है.
हाँ, right, sir. Got it.
Wholeheartedly welcome this webinar, sir. Behalf of our university and behalf of our Vice Chancellor and Registrar, sir.
Thank you.
Another one resource person, the Karnataka University Harvard librarian, Dr. A.N. Joshi. Wholeheartedly welcome this webinar, sir.
Okay.
I also welcome the Abdul Aziz sir and Sri Anand Gowda and all participants.
Thank you, sir.
The wholeheartedly welcome behalf of our university. Thank you one and all. Thank you one and all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your welcome speech. The most well-established way of finding research to support your ideas is to use the library. However, many students see the library and its resources as imposing and intimidating and are anxious about how they will manage in such an environment. Don't let any twinge of anxiety keep you from exploring all that the library has to offer. Of course, in keeping with today's technology, focused and computer-driven world, most resources collected by the library are now in digital form. Dear friends, today's session focuses on understanding library resources in daily life. To introduce our resource person, may I request Dr. Sashikant D.H., Faculty of Commerce, and Placement Officer to introduce our today's resource person, Sri Dharmesh Shah.
ಲಾಂಚ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಲಾಂಚ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ.
ಇದು introduce ಆದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಅದ ಹೆಂಗಾಗತ್ತೆ?
Yes, sir.
ಹಿಂದಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಪಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು.
Yes, sir. Now, dear friends, we are glad to announce that on this auspicious day, we are launching the KSRDPR University infographics. Now, I would like to request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Vishnukant S. Chetpalli sir, to launch the KSRDPR infographics and to put the opening remarks. Sir.
The registrar and faculty members of this university and Dr. Abdul Aziz Anand Gowda and all the participants in this national webinar. I have with us my friend Mr. Dharmesh Shah. So we have worked together, and he represents an organization which is very important for today's higher education especially. And on this day of Librarians Day, I am very happy that Karnataka State Rural Development University has been celebrating this every year, and this time we have celebrated in an innovative way, wherein our finance officer, Mr. Prashant, delivered really a very knowledgeable discourse, and one of our staff also exhibited his talent of how a poem can be written. And thirdly, for every faculty and non-teaching staff, a book was presented as a token of expansion of knowledge and inculcating the reading habit among the students and faculty members. Now, this is the world of information. And this information has to be translated into knowledge. And in this background, I am very happy to launch the university infographics. And this infographics is very relevant to today's occasion also. And this occasion wherein I said that the tool which is very effective for the dissemination of information is ICT. And we have a person like Dharmesh Shah, who has been very vital also in the application of ICT in higher education. I had an opportunity to work with him very closely when I was working as advisor NAC, and he played a very complementary role in developing the ICT tool for NAC. And I thought that he is the apt person who can also help and make people understand how ICT can be effectively used in case of library resources. As all of you know that InflibNet is an autonomous organization located at Gandhinagar, Gujarat. And this inter-university center is helping all the libraries in the country for optimum utilization of technology and information. So this is a very important organization for scholarly communication, especially for researcher and students. Since this information is available in various forms, and their major projects such as Shodhaganga, Vidyamitra, Vidwan, Ishoda Sindhu, all these things will help the researchers to gather information in terms of different forms of tutorial, videos, text, and there are experts who have delivered their talk. All these things can be used effectively, especially for people who are having aptitude of research and knowledge. So on this occasion, I am very happy that Dharmesh is here to deliver a very important topic on application of ICT. And a senior person like A.N. Joshi, who has been working her lifetime career in library, she is also going to talk on a very important topic of utilization of e-resources. So on this occasion, knowledge is a very important aspect in the 21st century. I hope this webinar with the two learned talks of Dharmesh and Joshi will help all the participants, and it will also help a budding university like us as to how we should go ahead in the expansion and consolidation of the library. So with this opening remarks, I wish all the best for this program, and also all the best for the librarians who have been participating in this program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are all fortunate to be in your dynamic leadership and launching the today's KSRDPR infographic and opening remarks. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಜೋಶಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ಗೂ ನಾನು ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ.
ನಮಸ್ತೆ ಮೇಡಮ್.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮೇಡಮ್. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಶುಭಾಶಯ ಹೇಳೋಣ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಕಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್. ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ.
ಮೇಡಮ್
ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಸರ್.
ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಶುಭಾಶಯ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಲೈಬ್ರರಿ ದಿವಸ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಮತ್ತು ಶುಭಾಶಯ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಸರ್.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಮೇಡಮ್.
ಲಕ್ಕಣ್ಣ ಅವರ್.
ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಯಾ ಬಾಬಾ. ನಮಸ್ತೆ ಮೇಡಮ್.
Thank you, sir, for your. We are all fortunate to be in your dynamic leadership, and thank you for launching the KSRDPR infographic and opening remarks. Now, I would like to introduce our resource person. Now, I would like to request Dr. Shashikant, DH, Faculty of Commerce and Placement Officer, to introduce our today's resource person, Sri Dharmesh Shah, sir. Sir, Shashikant, sir.
Thank you, sir. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome the dignitaries of today's webinar. I take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Dharmesh Shah. Dharmesh Shah is working as the Scientific and Technical Officer, Computer Science at the InfluPnet Center, Gandhinagar. Sir has completed BSc in Information Technology and MCA, having the 12 plus years of the experience. Prior to joining here, he has worked in an engineering firm as a computer program, Ahmedabad. His main role towards the project execution is a software development, analysis, and the server management. He has published several research papers in the national seminars and the conferences. He is also involved in the many technical and administrative committees of the InfluPnet Center. Currently, he is looking after the various activities of the database management group, software research and development, development and maintenance of the UGC website, automation of the UGC schemes, etc. He is also a core member of the various national projects such as NIRF, NPA, National Testing Agency, Study in India, and Atal Rankings, and so on and so forth. Sir, I welcome you wholeheartedly on behalf of the Karnataka State Rural Development and Panchayat Raj University to this webinar. Thank you, sir, and welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your introducing today's resource person. Now, I would like to call Dr. Nilamma R.K., Faculty of Management, to welcome our another resource person, Dr. A.N. Joshi, madam. Nilamma, madam.
Very good morning, all. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, madam.
Yes. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving an opportunity to introduce our guest. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. A.N. Joshi, madam. She stood first class in distinction student since her school and college days. She has completed her bachelor's and master's in library and information science from Karnataka University, and she stood first in both the bachelor's and master library informatics science, and secured gold medal for both the years and passed the national entrance test in the first attempt. Later, she has completed her doctoral topic development of a model for collaborative repositories of less used collection of university libraries in Karnataka state, and she has a professional experience of a more than 2 decades. Presently, she is working as the university librarian of a Professor S.S. Basavana Library, Karnataka University, Dharwad. And she has published many papers in national and international journals, and also attended and presented papers in many conferences. And her areas of interest are collection development and open access initiatives and e-resources. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to introduce madam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for your welcome introducing speech. Now, Dharmesh sir and Joshi madam, thank you very much for accepting our invitation, madam. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Now, I request Sri Dharmesha sir to take over the session and deliver the talk on application of ICT in library resources management. Sir, take over the session. So it's in mute, sir. Unmute, sir. Your voice is unmute. Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Now it's ready.
Okay. First of all, very good morning to all of you, and I'm wishing you a happy Librarians Day to all of you once again. I also would like to congratulate to university for launching your library infographics. I also would like to thank respected Vice Chancellor Sir, Professor Vishnukant Chetpalli Sir, a very dynamic and energetic person, and respected Registrar Sir, Professor Dr. Basamraj Sir, for inviting me as a resource person to deliver a lecture on applications of ICT in library resource management. I am very much thankful to Professor J.P. Singh Jurel, Honorable Director of InfluBnet Center, for allowing me to deliver a lecture. As we all know that today our topic is applications of ICT in library resource management. So let's start with some basic about ICT. As you all aware that ICT has affected almost every sector of our life, bringing a change in the case of people's think and interactions. And being a InfluBnet Center's employee, I also would like to say you that we are at InfluBnet Center also providing ICT trainings at our campus. Okay, so my screen is visible or
No, visible नहीं है.
so let me visible.
हाँ, visible हो गया.
Okay, thank you. Today's our topic is application of ICT in library resource management. This is the basic overview of about my PPT. That first of all, we will be talking about what is ICT, how we can use ICT in our life, in our library, in our curricula, whatever it is. Second is the components of ICT. Need of ICT in libraries. This is the very major area where we are focusing in every library nowadays. Fourth one is the impact of library, impact of ICT in libraries. And the last one is ICT based services and challenges. See, this is the basic about how we can use our ICT in libraries, in our own life, or wherever it is required to be used. So let me clear something about, I think you almost all aware about that ICT, but let me clear about what is ICT. Information and communication technology, ICT is a diverse set of technological tools and resource used to communicate and to create, store and manage the information. See, basically ICT, if we can say, or if we can going for study, that ICT mostly derived from IT, information technology. Then it becomes ICT, information and communication technology. It mainly, their broad area would be that softwares, hardware parts of the library and the network area. So ICT incorporates a range of technologies used to support communication and information applications. Networks include wireless technology and applications like database management and multimedia tools. ICT makes library work easier, faster, cheaper, and more effective. That we all know. It's not in library, everywhere. The term ICT describes the use of computer-based technology and the internet to make information and communication service available to a wide range of users. ICT are basically, as we said, that information handling tool, varied set of goods, applications, and services. That means where we can store our data, process our data in cloud storage, exchange the information through emails, like various kind of. There are various services also being provided by ICT, such as web APEC, library databases, automated circulations, library materials, etc. The first application, the last one is the first application of automatic data automation was implemented by the University of Texas for its circular module. First ICT implementation. See, as I said earlier, there are three major components of ICT. First one is computer technology, hardware and software. Hardware means how we can manage our library server. What is the configuration of servers? This one is hardware. Second one is software. Software means like we can say library automation software. There are various library automation software that one of the software I can recall is Sol, that implements initiative. Second one is communication technology. Communication technology now, this in lockdown period we use so many times, like audio conferencing, video conferencing, using cell phone, email, voicemail. So nowadays this communication technology means ICT part is very much usable. Third one is, you all know, reprography, micrographic and printing technology. It means reproduction of documents, printing and photography technology. See, this is the again components of ICT in terms of combine the organization. See, first one is software. Second one is, here I can say, hardware. Third one is transaction. As I said, software means there are various software like Sol, NugenLib, Lipsys, library automation software, web APEC, we can call web APEC software. Hardware, as I said, that scanner, computers, servers, laptops. Transactions, we are doing transaction through online. Communications technology, data storage, internet access, and the last and very useful is cloud computing. Without cloud computing, whatever we develop, whatever we are doing apart from through library service, it will be not means what we can say that is accessible point. We need to use cloud computing nowadays. Need of ICT in libraries. automatic the repetitive, tedious, and mechanical nature of library works, obtain increased operational efficiency of library services, improve this is the major one, how we can improve our library services using ICT. So it improves quality, accuracy, speed, reliability, storage, and effectiveness of library services. That is the very basic and main agenda of this using ICT in libraries. Improve access to resource on other networks and web, facility wider accessibility of library services and resources, and enabled participation in resource sharing with peer libraries. See, earlier what we did that all our manually entry we are doing, manually managing all this book. Nowadays, using ICT, using this new generation, ICT has made the transfer of digital information from remote site as much as possible. So nowadays also this we are doing in our library or anywhere it is required, but mainly we are focusing on library. See, this is our old technology which we are using since past in 2 or 3 decades back, and now using new technologies, ICTs, what we are achieving nowadays using the ICTs new technology. See, text entry, earlier we are using to type all these manual books. Nowadays we have a barcode, RFID, so easily we can transact our data. Second one is replication. Every time we need to use the normal printing, dot matrix printer was there. Now we can use terminal, video configuration, video disk, that we can use storage. Earlier it was when I joined, I'm not exactly recalling, but at that time somewhere I seen that they are using shelving location, means for cataloging. Now we have a digital storage. We can use cloud computing to store our data, high-end server. So there are so many technologies using ICT is now available, which we can implement in library. Searching, selecting. Earlier, it was very difficult to search. See, I will give this example, means in some 2 or 3 lines. See, earlier what we are doing, as a technical, if I can say, if I want to implement this new technology in library, earlier we are using some means core technical frameworks to develop search engine of our libraries and all. Means it is very basically using HTML and CSS we are doing. It will take, even if we have 50,000 books or nearby 1 lakh books in our library, it will take so much time. Nowadays, what we are achieving through ICT, see, we can call Solar Index, indexing part. Through indexing, we are searching our books record in our web OPEC. I will tell you one example. Let's say I have a one book in my library. Okay, so if I want to search with author's name, like Professor Vishnukant Chetwali sir, so we don't need to go one by one step. What we will do, we will go author index page, we will go ascending where we can find Vishnukant Chetwali sir, the page number. We can directly go this page number and easily locate there all the information. Same way we are implementing online ICT tools using Solar Index. What Solar Index will do, if we search anything in our web portal, OPEC or our anything, it will search like I have searched Indian library. It will directly go to the index, find the proper exact number, page number of this index page from database and result to the user. So it will be very fast. You will get result of 15,000, 5 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 10 lakhs record in a millisecond. That we already implemented since 1 year, 2 years back in our Indicate portal and so on, all our mostly web-based tool of ImplementNet Center. So that is very useful nowadays in library. Last one is communication. Communication, as I said earlier, we are using during this lockdown, during these meetings, all where we are using video conferencing, call conferencing, voice call using our computer networks, bandwidth, internet. Now a lease line also is very useful to connect through, let's say we are doing nowadays for conference or delivering a lecture. So that will be very useful in our libraries. See the impact of the libraries. As we all know that development of in ICT have brought about the merger of the computing, information, communications, entertainment, mass media, providing a means whatever means we think we can do over ICT through exchanging the information in the digital format used by computer. Nowadays, see, so many libraries are using their mobile app also. They are providing mobile app, Android, iOS, so user can access easily from their mobile. So it will be very speed, in terms of speed, in terms of reliability, accessibility. It will be very useful in libraries. See if we can implement our library in ICT, what we need to, from where we need to start? We need to start with our library automation. First of all, there are so many library automation systems or softwares or services are available that already been developed by the many organizations. I can say that there are so many like eGranthalaya, Evergreen, Koha, Lipsys, NewgenLeap, Soul that developed by ImpleNet as an initiative of the ImpleNet, and we have, I think, as of now, we have around 3,700 plus installation across the India. And in future, we are also providing the web-based solution of the Soul automation software. See, these are the major criteria where we need to select our automation. So we can say the first of all is operating system. We need to think about operating system, how it is secure, how it is safe, data linking, loss of data. In terms of, we need to think about operating system, which operating system will be good, secure for our library and our users also. Second one is basic functional, additional features. Fourth one is programming language. We need to think about which programming language will be supported by our OS, because there are so many dependency in programming language with the OS. We cannot use all the language in our each OS. So that is some dependency are there that we need to think while we are developing or implementing our LMS or any kind of software in libraries or anywhere. Fifth one is standard formats, script handling, and database and function security also. This is also same like programming language. It means even database also is not supporting in everywhere in every OS. So we need to think while we are integrating or implementing any softwares in our libraries. And compatibility also, we need to think about compatibility also. So this is IT infrastructure in library. In this slide, I think we almost cover about ICT and how to use ICT, for which purpose, to whom you can use ICT in our libraries, or for their purpose, like that. Infrastructure, if we can say about infrastructure, how we can use ICT in our infrastructure. So we can use networking, server, bandwidth, and software. As I said earlier, networking means we need to take care about we have a better lease line or any bandwidth related, internet speed related bandwidth, that we need to check first of all. our server should be dedicated or dedicated with higher configuration. And the server, this is the server part. Second part of the server is hosting, where we can host our server. Likewise, see, Inflinet is also going to create their private cloud where anyone means can host their server to Inflinet private cloud also. That is our ongoing activity. It will be active very soon. Same like other provider also are providing, like Microsoft Azure, Amazon, Google, all are providing hosting servers. So that will be, see, without hosting, you cannot get proper services, accessibility, because hosting is the main part of our database, applications, servers, and networking. Third one is bandwidth. How we can access our internet data, exchanging information. It all depends on our local area or wide area network bandwidth. Last one is software. Software means, as I said, that there are so many software we can use for staff, students, teachers, for our libraries. So as I given one example that, and in our next slide we will see about next ICT level softwares or applications. And the second one is stakeholders. Stakeholders means how we can give proper ICT infrastructure to our students, our teachers, and our staff, and what are the services are available for our students, teachers, and staff. It means our stakeholders. So that I can elaborate about our. See, I am from Inflinet Center. You all are aware about that. So in Inflinet Center, we started. Let me tell you brief about some of our activities and our programs. Okay. So when we started Inflinet Center, we have a first initiative of Inflinet Center, as I can say, is INDCAT, Union Catalog of Indian Universities. Union Catalog of Indian Universities. There are so many universities have participated. I think around 192 universities has participated, and we have 95.50 lakhs unique records of books, means metadata, and around 1.5 crores records are available in INDCAT. That I said earlier, that we used Solr indexing to retrieval the data of our books record, our thesis records, and our serials record. It's a kind of module where we can get all the information. Even users, students can search books. They can use our interlibrary launch services also. I would like also request to Professor Vishnukant Chetpalli sir that they may contribute their data to our INDCAT portal. Second one is, after INDCAT, we have developed a SOL. Let's see, we have, first of all, we have received so many records in metadata. Now, what should we do? So for that, we have developed the SOL for our automation of library. The second one, we have developed the SOL, the core activity or initiative of the Inflinet Center. So that too is related to library automation. Third one is, now we have developed INDCAT. SOL is also in developing, also developed. Now how to give access to journals. See, all metadata we have done. Now we move to the journals part. So how we can give access to universities, colleges of journal access through various publishers. So initially, I think in 2004 or 5, we started our UGC Infonet services to provide access to e-resources to universities and colleges. After that, we divided that part into two categories: Enlist for user, and ESS. I think you all are aware about ESS also. ESS, ESOS Sindhu, means that is the for university. So that is the third activities or programs of Inflinet Center. After that, we developed Sodhganga also. where user can submit their thesis. We developed institutional repository also. I also would like to tell you, VC sir, to develop the IR at your campus or your place to store, gather, retrieve, and manage your institutional data using this institutional repository. Let's say I told that stakeholders for students, teachers, and staff, we have a various services like teachers. We can use Vidwan, IRNS to publish their data. Likewise, we are doing many accreditation also for NAC and NIRF, NAC for publication and NIRF also for publication. We are doing several ministry MHRD projects and UGC. We are also providing technical services to UGC, means managing their website, means all are the part of the ICT that we are trying to say. All are the part of ICT. So that we can use, means for stakeholders, there are so many services, ILMS, OPEX are there, online journal access through ESS, mobile applications. Nowadays, we are also providing a Moodle library management software, INF Moodle, ILMS we can say. For students, we have a catalog management system. You can manage in your library, discovery tools, interlibrary loan that you also can implement in your library. As I said earlier, there are for teacher and staff, they can use our Vidwan and IRNS portal also. So there are so many various services using ICT Implement are providing. So I also would like to say that you can avail our services. We are also providing ICT services training at our Implement campus, so that you can also visit our website for more details. So that will be means very useful for each students, not for library, for students also, for libraries, for librarian, and other teachers and staffs also. So that will be very useful for all the peoples. The next one is we can say what is the impact of ICT on the library and information services. So as I said earlier, ICT made information creation in digital format, online access and file transfer. ICT made networking and sharing of information resource possible. See, earlier we have in ICT we have a web version, then web 1.0. Nowadays we are using web 2.0, web 3.0 are also there. So we need to work with parallel with this technology to achieve all the ICT technologies, because see, IT, it means we every day we need to, you will get some new information, so some new patches, some new frameworks in your life for every day. So we need to parallel with work with the ICT to enable our same ICT in our library. What is the impact of ICT? As I said, need for ICT knowledge, skills, need of ICT school tools, and the continuous learning in the context of rapidly changing of ICT. See, I'm also would like to say that library schools or in our bachelor of BLICs, MLICs, school or college need to integrate some advanced level, not full, some basic advanced level ICT syllabus to their courses, so they can cope with the changing work with the environment. What will be the trends in the development of libraries? The library will be networked, will be stocked with a core collection that is multimedia, have access to global information, become digital and virtual. See, there are various, as I said in my software part, that in later on we will say the ICT based services. So there are many services are there, likewise web OPEC. See, Implement also have a web OPEC where they can managing their books data and providing user access to search and get their books and come to Implement to read the same one. So library can also implement their book data, but for book data to implement WebOPEC, they must have a one kind of library management software. So they can easily link between library software and WebOPEC. Secondly, I need to say something about OCS. InfluMnet is developing, already developed, and so many universities are using OCS. OCS means online copy cataloging system. What we can do now? Let's say one university, Gujarat University, is using. They are providing their data to Indicate. Okay, as per the UGC's norms and in MARC format. So same data, let's say they have 50 books. So what they need to do earlier, they will provide 50 books to they are entering 50 books to their Sol management software also, and they are providing 50 books to InfluMnet also to upload in Indicate. So they are doing two process parallelly. Okay, to avoid this, InfluMnet created OCS. OCS. How OCS will work? See, let's say if you have some new books in your library. Okay, so if you are using currently, I will tell you that OCS is only applicable for Sol 2.0. We are also going to launch very soon with Koha and NewgenLib also. So what OCS will do? If you are entering any data in OCS, instantly it will update your library management software as well as Indicate also. So user can access same time after saving your data in OCS. In Indicate, user can access your data. So that is very much useful software in library nowadays. And so many universities are also using that data, entering the data through OCS, online copy cataloging system. Okay. Second one is digital library services. Digital library services, what we are using is that it reduces our physical spaces. The user can access to information remotely, and it also provides access to distributed information resources. And the advantage is that it has the ability to handle multilingual content also. So multilingual content is now also is very much means very needful to access, to give access to other users and students. Electronic document delivery service, that is also again the libraries are implementing ICT based interlibrary lending using interlibrary loan using networks to deliver copies of journals, articles and other documents.
Sir, sir, it's not audible, sir. Your voice is. Hello, sir. Dharmesh, sir.
User desktop. It helps the user to access in. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, now it's audible, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now it's audible, sir. Hello. Hello. They disconnected. Sir, you have disconnected, sir. You just connected, sir. I think you have disconnected, sir.
So fourth one is institutional representation, where we can journals. See, service electronic journal may be defined broadly as any journals, magazine, newsletter, or type of electronic serial publication which is available over the internet and can be accessed using different technologies such as www, Gopher, FTP, Telnet. As I said, na, see everywhere if we need to use ICT, we need to give access of our journals, books, or whatever we can give access to public. That we need to manage using ICT. That is the main funda of the ICT. Next one is next service is Ask a Librarian. That is also very much now. See, we are using in our laptop. There are Cortana is there. if I can say, na, is kind of what we can say that uh, virtual services. So Ask a Library is a free online services through which library users can chat live with a librarian or designated staff for any immediate information. See, I can give some example like Cortana, as I said earlier. If you can type na that I need to search India library through Indicate, they will search they will open the Indicate portal, search Indian library and revert with your result. So so many technologies are there using ICT and advanced level of ICT, if we can say that machine learning, artificial intelligence. So many technologies are there, but the thing is we need to focus what we can provide, what is the achievable and what is the meaningful to users, our staffs and our university. See, as I said, recent and upcoming ICT technology, artificial intelligence and machine learning. There are so many. See, digital assistant like Alexa, Siri recognize your word and answer you. That is very much useful nowadays, because see, always we are trying to access. We nowadays na there are some disadvantage also of this using upcoming ICT technology. We are not remembering anything. We just open Google, type this, we will get the result. So always if we are using any new or any achieving any new technology, always there have some advantage and disadvantages, but we need to focus on positive part. Second one is drone. There are in international libraries, they are using drone to provide access of books to handicapped people, or there are people where they cannot, means they reside far off the place where reaching to people is challenge. So that using ICT they can provide these services. Virtual tour, I think Inclinet has developed the virtual tour of their campus. Same wise, I suggest you also can develop your 360 degree camera and posting it to website or social media, so it can user can explore your library and campus anytime anywhere using ICT. Big data, nowadays big data, we are using the storage and analysis of large set
Excuse
can
me,
be
sir.
a real.
Excuse me,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
If you are sharing your slide, those slides are not visible. Or
I,
if you are
I,
telling extempo, you can continue.
I already said, let me say it once again. I think
Yes, sir.
it got
Please.
disconnected last time. Sorry.
Yeah.
See, big data, if we can say. So, as I said earlier, for any server, for any storage of information, for any data, big data or small data, we need some kind of server, higher end server. And the second part of it, to access it, we need to host where we can easily retrieve or manage our data. So that is the first and second part. First, you need to, if you develop or if you are going to implement any ILMS or any software in library, you should keep in mind that you need to take better server with your higher configuration, and second one is hosting. Last one is the Internet of the Things. You know all aware that IoT. IoT refers the possibility of connecting everyday devices and transferring the data, which we are doing nowadays. So IoE can be implemented in library also, such as from taking. We can manage our campus, special collection. In everywhere we can use. Depends on our requirements or university's requirements. Challenges of ICT. I think nowadays, if we can say that Web 2.0 is there, Web 3.0 is there, then library also should be need to work with parallel, like library 2.0, library 3.0, that we can implement in our library, or we can work with that So mostly, because see, librarian are not as technical, they may be less aware about technical service. So major important points is maintenance of that software and the security of our data. That is the two things we need to take care about libraries, that is kind of challenge, I can say. Rest is resource sharing, better document delivery service, that is are there. And last one is conclusion is that librarians and libraries must cope with the demand of an information society. As I said, the same thing. The advancement in ICT and its application in libraries today's time is indeed a safe challenge to library information and services. See, not library, even user are also going to adopt the ICT services, which who is are on 12th, on graduation, on post graduation. They are also learning from there. So they are also parallel running with the ICT and new enabled technology. Because as I told you, every day, every week, we will get some new patches, some new frameworks in ICT. So we need to cope with them. And it's the time to implement all the ICT levels applications, whichever is required in your library, to implement in your library through ICT. That I can say. And in last, I also would like to thank Vishnu sir, Registrar sir, to providing me a chance to deliver a lecture. Happy Librarians Day, Happy Janmashtami. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your very much, sir, for understanding all of us regarding what is ICT and its applications on day-to-day life. So, the dear participants, the Q&A session will be open after our second session. Once the end. Now, I request our another resource person, Dr. A.N. Joshi, madam, to deliver the session now. Madam, can you hear it now? Joshi, madam. Hello.
I think mute.
Madam, yeah,
okay.
Madam, you may start your session now.
Yes, yes.
Madam, are you preparing your slide shares, madam?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And adjust your camera, madam. You are not visible.
Yes.
Yes.
Now it's
Please.
visible.
Okay, madam. Now you can share your slides, madam. You can start your session. You have to unmute your audio, madam.
Madam, it's you may. Okay.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, madam. It's audible.
First of all, at the outset, I would wish a happy Librarians Day to
Thank you, madam.
all the fellow librarians. And then I also give my best wishes to Professor Vishnukant Chattapalli and the Registrar Lakkanavar and Anand Gowda for organizing this webinar on the 128th birthday of Dr. S.R. Ranganathan, the father of library science. I would like to start my session with paying my respects to the great soul. Okay. Is the slide visible?
Yes, madam.
Is the PPT visible?
Yes, visible.
Fine. Okay. Now I'll be talking about significance of e-resources. You have heard the earlier speaker talking about ICT. It is quite related to what he has spoken. Okay. Now, I would go to for a very broad meaning of e-resources. Very simple, basic, what we day to day, every day, what even an outsider can understand. What are e-resources? E-resources are basically all information resources which are accessible electronically. They are called as electronic resources, and in brief, e-resources. So be it any form of information resources, if it is available electronically, we can term it as e-resource. Now, coming to our topic, e-resources in libraries. So how did this all evolve, or how did this e-resources have such a great influence on libraries? It all started with the advent of technology. Technology has, in the early 90s, technology has touched all walks of life. And then library being a very important aspect of academic community, the touch of technology to the libraries had a great impact. Like there was so much data which need to be handled and then disseminated. And this technology became a very helpful tool. I mean to say that all this was being done earlier also, but that was very time consuming, and then a lot of human resource was involved. But with the advent of technology, this has made the services faster, and then it reaches more people. So this has made e-resources have become now, over a period of time, they have become integral part of libraries. We cannot imagine libraries now without e-resources, or librarians without handling e-resources now. And then if something has to stay over here, if something has to be used only when our end user, whenever our clientele are satisfied, because these e-resources have become the preferred choice of users. Users prefer them than the print version. So because it is preferred by them, and then from the librarian's end, it has become that access, giving access to more resources, giving access to resources has become more important than the physical holdings. So these are something, can I say, very broad or main aspects on which e-resources and libraries. Now, as I said, all information resources that a library handles, they are, be it a book, an e-book, an e-journal, or even a thesis, entire thesis and dissertations are available electronically now, or a database, or all our encyclopedias and dictionaries, and then our newspapers. There are just many more. I've just listed few, very few. It goes on and on. So all types of these resources which are available are electronically are e-resources. Now, as I was talking in my earlier slide, why has this become so? When we say it has become, it is here to stay, it has become an integral part of libraries. Why is it? What is the significance of e-resources in our everyday routine as a librarian, handling the resources and serving the users? The first one, most important, is it provides latest information. There is no time lag as such from the publication of the information to reaching of the end user. So it provides that time lag, whatever was there, that has been totally, it has shrunk, because in few, shall I say, hours, minutes, it reaches the user. The information retrieval as the click of the mouse. So this, the user point of view, this has become very important. As Shri Dharmesh was talking earlier, it is to take so much of time. We have to search where the particular, a particular library doesn't have it, we have to search in which library it is, then provide it to the user who is asking it. So all that has just vanished now. Information retrieval at the click of the mouse. Wherever you want it, you can have it then. And multiple access. Multiple access is a very important aspect of e-resources, which has made it likable by anyone. So you, be it a thesis or be it a book, n number of people can log in at the same time. Maybe if it is a journal, many people can read the different articles in the same issue at a time, or maybe they can read the same article at a time. So multiple access is something that is very important, which has made it very popular. And accessible 24/7, yes, You don't have to wait for the libraries to open. You don't have to finish off before the library closes, but accessible 24/7. That has made that is a very important feature of e-resource. And then links to various related sources. So when you're doing a research, when you're writing an article, or when you're collecting information about a particular topic, you just read an article and you feel that's quite useful. And all of us, we go to the citations or we go to the references and we just see. And then many a times we feel that, oh, if I had access to this particular article, I should have read it. I don't know what because the author has quoted it. Earlier it is not like this. Immediately we go to it, click on it, and then we get that article also. So when you are sitting for a research or you want to write an article, whatever information you need is available at your desktop. And then speed of information retrieval. As I said, you don't have to keep on waiting. I have to go and search in that particular journal. If that issue is there in the library, but the library has issued it. If this library has not issued it, request the librarian to get it from another library. All this has just evaporated. So speed of information retrieval is very, very high in e-resources. And convenience of usage. Yes. This is very important. Everyone feels it. So you carry it in your pen drive, you attach it to your mail, take home, go back to your laboratory, go back to your department, take a print. If you don't want to print, link it to your another device. So convenience is there. You don't have to carry it. You have to carry all that. So convenience, wherever you want to use it, in whichever gadget you want to use it, that has become very, very easy and made the e-resources very significant. Now, what I was earlier, in my earlier slide, I was telling about significance from the user's point of view. And equally, e-resources have brought advantages to the librarians also. The first and foremost, almost all large libraries are facing the problem of space. With the collection development, we are all feeling, most of the libraries are bursting at the seams now. And in prevailing situations, no library for that matter, can accommodate all its growing collection continuously. So save space, this has become a very, very useful tool for the librarians. They can have information that they want, and then it can be stored very, very compactly. So that is a very important aspect from a librarian's point of view. And then ensures rich, diverse resources to the users. You have so much, you can present your users so much that there's no boundary as such. So you can be very sure that you can give rich, diverse resources to the users. And then those who are actually practically handling the information resources, especially the journals, they always have this problem of missing issues. So altogether, that has vanished now. You get an e-journal. Obviously, there's no question of missing issues and all that paperwork that is to go about it, writing to the publisher, this, that, all that. That doesn't. So the librarian is happy that if X volume, some 10 issues are there, 4 issues are, 6 issues are, he's assured all the issues are there and that I can give to the user at any point of time. And then physical maintenance. We all know how difficult it is in various climatic conditions of India physically to maintain the paper. So we are putting so much of efforts to preserve our collection. So that aspect, we are very lucky with the advent of e-resources. Physical maintenance has reduced a lot. And then, as I said, when I was talking about the user slide, multiple users can access a single source. So the librarian sort of, should I say, a headache or solving the problems of the users. So he doesn't have to, all the users at a time, they can have access to whatever resource they want. So in that way, librarian is sort of relieved at times. And the present day users, whatever users we are catering now, they're all netizens. Most of them are post-90s born. So their preference is netizen. They don't have the patience and then to go search and all that. So they want everything at the click of the mouse. Only when such resources are provided the library, those people will visit your library. So this is all aspect. And then one very important aspect of e-resources, personally, which I feel is very helpful, is to serve our differently abled users. we have so many, shall I say, softwares which help them, and then they can just, they can access it from their particular labs or departments, and there are softwares which read out for them, and then they can copy it and then take it in their pen drive, and in their particular device they can go home, or in their place they can listen to it. So this has facilitated differently able users. So e-resources have, apart from the regular users, from that aspect also, for all, say visually or whatever differently able they are, this has helped them to pursue their studies and then their academic careers. Now, basically, when I'm talking of library in an academic environment, we provide resources. We can categorize them as into broad ways. One is open access e-resources and paid e-resources. So we'll go to the further slides. I'll be just talking about that. Now, what are open access resources? This is an open access is a publishing model where information resources are made freely available on the internet. So it doesn't have the restriction of area or to which particular institution you are logged in or where you belong to, which country. No, the purpose of this open access was to provide information across all disciplines, across all barriers. Because earlier what used to happen in the European countries, especially where print journals were very, like elsewhere and all that they functioned, information was not available to the third world countries. So with the advent of open access, with this free publishing model, information is available to everyone on the same platform. So here, that particular data, whatever you want to access, you can read it, you can copy it, you can download it, print, reuse, whatever form you want. And in this, I would also like to stress that when we say that it is freely available, it is not some trash or ephemeral material. It is peer-reviewed literature and handled by various leading journals, and it undergoes its own process. So it is very, very reliable data. So when we always have that if it is free, we have to just, what about its quality? No, it is equally, it is a reliable data. So open access resources, it comes in all forms. All sorts of information resources are available in open access now. It may be books, journals, then articles, theses are also available online. And then looking across all these information resources, it is observed that e-journals are the most sought after open access resources. So as we all know, journal article is, shall I say, the most fast source of information, which all researchers or academicians go for it. And that is a mode in which we all publish also, mostly. So this is the most sought after open access resources. I've just mentioned very, very few. It is open access is a big umbrella under which so many institutions or publishers, so many people. I've just to name few, one, two, I've just, because I can speak on open access only for another session. So let's. It is our own National Digital Library. It is an Indian venture under MHRD. So you have access to open access books through this. And then DOAB, it's Director of Open Access Books. The books are available full text, you can see it, and even Project Gutenberg. Similarly, we have open access journals, DOAG, most popular, Director of Open Access Journals, and then we have Google Scholar, and then major publisher also coming up on part of the journals to put it under open access, like Springer Open or elsewhere open access, even OpenJGate. So all this you can access anywhere from wherever we want it and from whichever device we want it. So these journals are accessed, and as I said earlier, it can be reused. You can take a print, copy a part of it, use it. The only thing that is the advantage of this. Similarly, we have open access theses and dissertations. our own Shodhaganga of Inflimnet, a very popular reservoir of Indian thesis. We have Dharmesh from Inflimnet. So this venture is very
I think there is a power went off in Madam's
Madam,
place where she is
room.
sitting,
Yes,
probably.
maybe it will take some minutes, sir. I think so.
Just wait for some time.
Yes.
Yes,
sir.
Anand Gowda sir. What is
Currently, the power went out there. I
Yeah.
think I called there. They are starting that issue, sir. Now within 1 minute, they are starting the session.
Yeah, yeah, Madam is online.
Now, yeah, it's audible, madam. Now it's connected.
the PPT is visible.
No, PPT is not visible, madam.
It's not visible. Okay.
Not visible. Yes, madam.
Yeah.
Now it's screening.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So we have our own open access initiatives by Inflimnet. As I was talking, Shri Dharmesh did touch upon a few aspects of this, especially Shodhaganga as a librarian and meeting fellow librarians from our different universities. This is a very to users. So thesis being a very important document where research is being, our own research is being disseminated to various users. So this has become most sought after, shall I say, Shodhaganga is a most sought after service regarding the thesis. And we have Shodhaganga 3, INTCAT. INTCAT is a union database where the library resources of all the university libraries are pooled in, where you can have know what library has, which library has what collection. So through the have that, and also of course ePathshala is there. So all these are open access initiatives where one need not bother about which university he belongs, or do we have access to it, or should I pass some, is there any barrier to cross? No, all these are available in open access and they can take the maximum benefit of this. And then, having said about open access resources, now let's go to paid e-resources, which are also provided by the libraries. And then, as the title itself says, that here the whatever library or whatever, whichever institute it may belong to, here it is paid. It is either purchased or it is subscribed. So in this particular Mailu, what happens is, only those users who belong to the said library of the institution, only they can have access to the information resource, because it is IP authenticated. So it may be in a particular library, or it may be in your university campus as such. So only those so through particular registered systems, you can have access to e-resources which are paid. So that is the shall I say restriction for the paid resources. And then depending upon how you negotiate with the what part of it you want to take it, whether it is perpetual access. Perpetual access is you can have access to it just like purchasing a book or a journal. It will be there with you forever. And then if it is a subscription, it is for the subscribed period, whatever year, 1 year, or even that comes with a subscription is for both journals and books. There is a particular subscription period and in which you have access to a set of books, a set of journals, but after the subscription period is over, you cannot have access to it. And then always here in paid e-resources, it is on a particular license with the publishers, and it depends how you use it and what all can be made use, and all that will fall under the terms of agreement with the publisher. That has to be taken care while using it. Now, when I would like to, when we are building our e-resource collection, I feel these 7 C's are very important, which the librarian has to take care while building his e-resource collections. First and foremost is conditions of access. When you negotiate, when you're talking with the publisher who is going to give access to it, first you have to observe that all these conditions, are they feasible to us? Are they feasible to our users? Are they feasible to our library environment? So conditions of access is first thing that has to be checked, and then convenience of use and the content. Sometimes what happens is when a very large amount of data is given, maybe you don't need all that. Maybe some of it is not relevant to your library. So you have to be particular about the content, what is being given to you. And then currentness. Can you update it, or in your agreement with the publisher or the aggregator or the supplier, do you have an agreement for currentness, that is going for the next versions? Is that there? And then another thing is convenience of cataloging. See, when these has to be, you don't have to do it every time. So many times the MARC records has to be convenient for your library environment. So that you have to check. And I have put it last but one, but this is more important. All the administrators will agree with me, because cost. E-resources are really costly, and then this has to be taken care in the collection development. And then always when we are thinking of the cost, we should always think of an option whether it is available through any consortia that we are participating. So a consortia, access to consortia makes it easier for the librarian to give access to more resources. So if these things are taken care, if these 7 C's are taken care, I think we can build a good, strong e-resource collection. Now, having said all about this, I just want to say what we as librarians, what is our role in this e-resources and libraries and in this academic environment. First thing is information literacy. Information literacy for the users is very, very important. When you're putting in so much of efforts in terms of finance and negotiating and all that, these resources should be exploited to the maximum. It should be benefited to the maximum. So information literacy is very, very important. Information literacy programs have to be conducted to the users to make use of these resources. And then creating good infrastructure facilities. As Dharmesh was talking, he did touch upon this, connectivity and our bandwidth and then server. All these things have to be taken care. They shouldn't become a hindrance. They shouldn't become a barrier in using the e-resources. And then as a librarian, both the subscribed and open access resources, their usage should be encouraged. So they should know when to use and how they can use the subscribed resources, because they are real. The information content is really valuable in them, because when they're not available in open access, they need to know when to use it and use it, because you're paying for it. And then when this is not there, another option, open access resources, they should also be made equally aware of that. And then try to get remote login facility. That would help the users to do it from their places of research, or say from their homes or whatever it is. And then providing a link to library website is always very useful. because most of it, the access point, how we enter to the main door. So library website is the first thing that anyone will do. When we want to know about a particular library, we go to its website. So providing a link through it is helpful. Helpful is in the sense that you can encourage using more of it. And then we have to provide knowledge regarding copyright and IPR issues, especially when we are dealing with paid e-resources. You cannot violate your agreement. So that has to be, they have to be educated. It happens to share with you a particular chemical abstract services which provides SciFinder. In a particular library, it so happened that without the knowledge, it was done innocently by a user. All the articles in a particular issues were downloaded at a time, and access was stopped because they were violating the issues which was there in the agreement. So these small things have to be taken care, and our users has to be educated. And then, having said all this, when we are putting so much of our finance into it, and then we want to develop our infrastructure and all that to give connectivity and all that, how do we evaluate? How do we justify that the amount being spent is really useful? So usage is a scale to evaluate the contents and access models. How the users use it, what they use it more, how often do they use it, and the convenience of usage, all this is a scale. This is a scale for a librarian to evaluate contents and the access models. Having said all this, I would like to say that it is not a bed of roses. It is not like e-resources has so many advantages, as agreed. The librarian has it's very helpful for the libraries and the users. Yes, having said all this, and another part, other side of the table, it's not so easy. There are so many things, day to day issues are there. Technological barriers. You think of buying some particular e-resources, it might become not compatible with your hardware. So these are small things, but they do play a very important role which has to be taken care. So technological barriers like hardware and software are there. And then cost for acquiring e-resources is very high. As I mentioned it earlier, it's really expensive. And then provision of good infrastructure. So when we say about good bandwidth, good server, and then latest desktops or whatever devices you want to give it to users. So provision of good infrastructure, everything involves cost. And then, and very, very basic in our Indian environment is providing uninterrupted power supply and internet access is also equally important. Just as we were going through our webinar, I had a problem of this issue of electricity, and again I had to catch it up with my dongle. So these are there practically at the ground shop floor level, what we can call it as. This is very much talking in a platform is there, but a ground reality is this has to be taken care of. It is a hindrance. And then access is based on license agreements with publisher. This is there because when we're especially in case of paid e-resources, this is there. Access is based on license. So whatever agreements we make with them, in that we have to be very, I'm not telling careful, but we have to be knowledgeable of, because each clause has its own weightage. So we have to think about access, which is very important, because ultimately why are we doing all this? To serve our end clientele. So having said all this about hindrances, advantages and all that, I would say e-resources have really played a very, very important role in this COVID-19 pandemic. It was only through them that we kept connected with our users, especially open access resources played an important role during the lockdown period. And then it helped keeping the users and connected with their academic work. And then it is my personal observation is that many publishers, like those which we have subscribed, many libraries, not only our library, many publishers where the subscribed e-resources were there, they came forward to extend remote learning facility also, because people couldn't come to the library or come to the department or their labs and all that. So remote login facility was extended where they could do it from their homes. And then it really helped in providing access, because everyone was very everyone was really particular about because social distancing, all that, they did matter. So it helped in providing access without risking either the user or the provider. So this flow of information from the to the user was never stopped. That was only because of e-resources. Now I would like to conclude it As I said, e-resources are a part of the fabric of academic community now. Well, be it a teacher, be it a student, be it a researcher, be it an administrator. Now we cannot imagine environment, academic environment without e-resources now. And providing content to the user, which was never possible in this print world. I would like to say this because we can't imagine also, say 2 decades back or even a little earlier, say somewhere in the 80s, it was not at all possible that even we could not contemplate that so much of information could be given at the click of a mouse. You have access to anything published in elsewhere, you have access in Springer, and then what was in the earlier issues, you were 10 years back. So we couldn't even imagine that only print world this was not possible. And then having said all this, the users have to take complete advantage of this e-resources. When it is being extended, only when they exploit it to the maximum extent, then there is a satisfaction from our end. And then librarians have to facilitate in encouraging the user. As I said in my earlier slide, we have a role in this also. And then ultimately, to put it in a nutshell, after everything, what has happened is, to the libraries, what has happened is, the libraries have become from physical to virtual. What is the content, what we can provide access to, that has become more important than how big our collection is, or how many holdings we have, or how many floors we are housed in. So that has become more important now, access. So we have become from physical, we have moved on to virtual. I would like to close it with this particular slide. I liked it very much. So maybe in the future coming days, not presently, maybe in the next generation or something, if a grandmother takes her grandchild to a library, he will be wondering, what is this? So she will just tell it's an earlier version of the World Wide Web. With this, I would like to close it. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for your session, which you mentioned in your talk. What is the e-resources and how to use e-resources, and during COVID-19 pandemic situation, what are the benefits of the e-resources? You have mentioned all those things. Thank you so much, madam, for your valuable speech. Madam. Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much, sir. Madam, for understanding us regarding the application of library resource and its management in our day-to-day life. Sir, there is a question by Raghavendra Dodmani. Do you have students' application for library use? Sir.
Dharmesh, sir.
Dharmesh, sir.
Unmute your voice, sir. Yes.
Yes.
One question is there, sir.
Huh?
Do we have students' application for library use?
Student application for library. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do we have students' application for library use?
For students, I can say for library services, if I can say that there are OPEC is there, discovery tools are there to access the resource or e-journals or anything. Online services that we can made available access to the users. Mobile application we can create. And the last one is the what I told you earlier, that LMS, learning management system, also are there for students. So that are various services for students are also available there.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, now may I request, what are the attributes to the next questions of libraries? Generation of libraries. What are the attribution to the next generation of libraries?
Hello?
Sir, what are the attributes to the next generation of libraries?
Hello, am I audible?
Sir, what are the attributes to the next generation of libraries?
Acha. To next generation of libraries, if we run with ICT, in terms of ICT, there are various attributes like if I can say in terms of proper terms of library, currently we are using Mark 21 for data encoding standard. That will be very soon replaced. Am I audible? Na? That will be very soon replaced by the that will be very soon replaced by the B-frame. In terms of attributes of library, there where we are using AACR cataloging standard, that also replaced by the resource description access, we can say RDA. So various attributes of libraries in terms of cataloging management system, and in terms of ICT that I told for that we can implement our advanced level ICT in our library. Likewise, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So that are the various attributes are there to use in our libraries.
Madam, top 5 books of your choice. Can you suggestion?
5 books of ICT.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
5 books of ICT. See, first of all, just forget about book and all. Please focus, first of all, focus on what you are going to do, what is the best for your library, and what is the best for yourself. That you just find out in this current ICT scenarios. Because see, in books you only get the theoretical part. To implement in yourself, in your library, in your office or wherever, you need to focus on practical, what you are going to do. So there are so many technologies are there in ICT. So books is not an, I can say books is not an proper approach. You can make some vision for your what you are going to do in futures for you, and at the take the same one and going forward to learn about these softwares or ICT applications or many newly available software in this market.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, one question.
Even for better, see, I can say, na, I already told, for better ICT implementation or enabling, you also may visit our InflipNet website, because we are InflipNet Center are also running parallel running with ICT. We are keep implementing, keep developing our softwares with ICTs. We are also providing technical services, means what we can say ICT enabled services to all the users at our campus. So that are various sources are available. So see if you can avail this service, now we are also providing practical services also. So you can better understand about what is ICT, how we can enable. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Registrar sir wanted to ask some question. Sir,
yes, sir.
Please go ahead, sir.
Joshi madam, please. Madam.
Joshi madam.
Madam, in each and every library, so much of informations are available. Much more informations are available in the print or e-resources. Any guidelines to use for students to e-resources? Students are in confusing manner. Which resources? What are the ways to use this type of resources? Any guidelines are there?
Yeah.
Most of the students are in confusing.
Yeah, true.
Some students are unaware of softwares.
Yeah.
That is a main problem.
Yeah. As I said, first let them go for, especially the UG and PG students, first let them, they can go for open access resources. they can go for DOAG or any other open access resource. First, let them know how to search a particular article related, because usually such sites, they usually have trees on which their particular subject is there. Suppose if someone is studying on sociology, under sociology, whatever related they want to have, all those will be displayed. And first they should learn how to make a search. And let it be a pinpointed search, because it is such a huge, like there's so much data, they should not get confused, like as blindfolded, someone should not be left in a forest. So they should first learn how to make a search. They have to go to their particular discipline, in that their sub-discipline, and whatever they want, they should learn to give very good search strategy words. Keywords are very important. So when they give it, and these Boolean operators like and, or, and not, they should be conversant with that. Having done that, they will, once they know how to reach the information, then whether it is open access or paid resources, they will do it. But first, basically, let them do it in open access. First thing they have to learn is how to search information, because it is such a huge sea, sir. It is very difficult to find. So they should go to broad discipline, come narrower, and then reach their whatever topic they want to know.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
May I request our participants for any of your doubts?
Any participants can ask any questions to any both resource persons. I think
Hope all the participants are benefited with the today's session. Now may I request Dr. Abdul Aziz sir, Assistant Director, Center for Training, Publication and Supervision, to put the concluding remarks and present the vote of thanks.
Okay. Am I audible, madam?
Yes, audible, sir.
Yes. Thank you very much. Library is the good afternoon, everybody. On this occasion of Librarians Day, the Karnataka State Rural Development and Panchayat Raj University and our library had organized a webinar, a national level webinar on the library resource management. This is a very good webinar we had organized. I hope many of the librarians all over the country have got connected to this webinar. On this occasion, I take this opportunity to thank our resource person, Sri Dharmesh Shah sir. Dharmesh Shah sir, you gave a very good information about the ICT. In this, on this occasion, I just want to say one thing about our university, that right now our librarian and our people from our library, they have created a lot of information. We have library in 3 places which are located in our hired premises. However, we are going to come out with a very huge library in our campus, which is already under the construction. And whatever the information, ICT information you gave us, it has enlightened ourselves and our librarian and all of us to what are all the its and bits and small things what we have left out probably while creating the infrastructure in our library. It is a very good information and information you have given. I hope the people who are connected, the librarians are the people, professors, the teachers, the students who have got connected to this webinar. It is a very informative information you have given, that how the people can get connected to the libraries, not only in their place, in the entire country, in the entire world, they can get connected with the libraries and get the information. I take this opportunity to thank you, sir, on behalf of our university, on behalf of our Vice Chancellor and the Registrar and all our library department. I thank you very much for giving a valuable information. Thank you very much, sir. And I also thank Dr. A.N. Joshi, madam. Madam, you are a librarian in Karnataka University, and I had an opportunity, many a time I had an opportunity to visit your library, and I have visited the Karnataka College Library where I have studied, And I have also visited Karnataka University Library for my some research work or some other work. Many a times I have visited the library. Madam, you have got a huge library, you have got e-library, you have got many facilities you have created for the student. I will be always very impressed when I enter your campus, when I enter your library. However, madam, you have given a very good information about the e-resources and also certain very important tips you have given to our librarians. Like in our marketing things, we say 7 P's regarding the product, price, and all that. You have also given the 7 C's, which are very important for the librarians to keep it in mind when they take up the library activities. And also you have given what is the role of library. That is very important, especially in these days, the copyright thing. The copyright thing is very important. If we violate a small copyright things, and it may not only put trouble into not only the librarian, in the organization also they will put into the trouble. So that information you have given a very good information, madam. On this occasion, I also tell one more thing, that when I was studying, I used to use this Cardex system. That is the draw I used to draw, and I used to search. That Cardex system is still there in Karnataka University Library. And I request all the librarians to maintain that Cardex system so that we can show to our next generation people that how we used to search the books or the journals or anything, whichever is required, go to that Cardex system and search. And still it is a fascinating thing for me, madam, whenever I visit your library in Karnataka University, I first go to that Cardex system. There I will search for the books or a journal. Then I will go to that your e-resources, then the computers, and I search the whatever the information is required. However, searching anything in Cardex system, it is very fascinating things, because everything is developed based on the Cardex system only. Now, whatever the e-system, whatever we talking about the latest technology, the foundation for this, it is a Cardex system only. So I thank you very much. Once again, I thank you, madam, for accepting our invitation and giving a very good information for the librarian, especially the role of librarian you have told. That's a very good thing you have told. And we once again thank you on behalf of our university, our Vice Chancellor, our Registrar, and myself, and the entire the community of our RDPR community. We thank you very much, madam, for having accepted our invitation and given a very good informative session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I also share the happiness of being amongst all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And on this occasion, take this opportunity to thank our Vice Chancellor Vishnukant Chetpalli sir, who has launched the library infographic, and also gave his presidential remarks in the beginning itself. So he has in fact encouraged all of us, especially our library people, to equip the library to suit with the latest information required for our university, for the students, for the people, for the faculty, whoever visiting our library. And it is a very good place it has been created. And this webinar also has given a lot of information, and he has given an opportunity to hold this webinar, a national level webinar. And on this occasion, I thank our Vice Chancellor, Shri Vishnukant Chetpalli sir, and thank you very much, sir. I also take this opportunity to thank our registrar. Our registrar, sir, always will be active, and he will be always telling the people and our faculty members and the students to organize such type of webinars and seminars. And he has taken a lot of interest in encouraging the people to hold such type of webinars and seminars. And I thank you, sir, on behalf of the university and myself and everybody. Thank you very much, sir. I also take this opportunity to thank our librarian, Sri Anand Gowda. Since last 8-10 days, he is in fact in our university, every year we celebrate this day, a librarians day. There used to be huge book exhibition centers we used to organize. This year, because of the pandemic situation, we have not organized that type of thing. However, there was a very good function. It was organized by our Anand Gowda sir, the librarian, and he has also organized this webinar. He has taken a lot of pain, and he has with his team, the team of members he has organized this webinar. I thank you, Anandoda sir, and
Thank you,
keep,
sir.
as Madam said, the role of librarian, please keep it in mind, and 7Cs keep it in mind, because the huge library is going to come up in our campus,
Yes, sir.
and probably you will be the chief librarian sitting in AC
Thank you,
chamber,
sir.
and you will be, yeah, if you equip your library very well,
Thank
this
you,
is
sir.
the time that you can put in everything in order.
Yes, sir.
So whatever the madam and whatever the Dharmesh sir has
Yes.
given the information, you keep it in mind, and
Yes, sir.
I hope you are a very active person. You will definitely take
Thank
up,
you, sir.
and thank you for organizing
Thank you, sir.
this webinar. I also thank all our faculty members, Shashikant sir and Shashikala madam and other people who have helped to organize today's webinar as well as today's library day. And I thank you one and all for organizing this webinar, and also thank once again Dharmesh sir and Joshi madam for having accepted our invitation. I thank you very much, and I thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.